Hortense Vasquez, and we came to San Jose from Mexico. I came to San Jose from Mexico in '63, and then my mother and my sister follow afterwards. But I graduated from James Lake High School when I was 16, and then I started to tutor at San Jose City College while I was going to college. And there was a program that I think IBM was also partly sponsoring it. And I was tutoring chemistry. And then one day this man comes to me and he says, I'm Dr. George Castro and I work at IBM. And I was, why is it that you don't apply to IBM? Well, you know, I'm still going to school. I'd like to tutor. Okay. Then a few months later, he would come back and he would say, why don't you go and apply at IBM? I kind of like, well, you know, I like it here. And, you know, this way I says, well, you know, you can go and start as a supplemental over there. Yeah, but I like tutoring chemistry. Okay. Then a couple of months later, he would come back and says, well, you know, how are you? How about going and applying at IBM? I said, George, I'm going to go and apply at IBM. So anyway, I applied at IBM, and I'm sure that, you know, he made it so that I got hired, and I started to work in the research division. And then he would, you know, keep an eye on me once in a while and wanted to know how I was, because I was in a totally different group than he was. And it just, all the time, it was, I consider him one of the angels that God put in my path. I don't know where I would be if I had not gone to IBM. Probably I would have gotten my teaching credential and stuff. I don't know, but I had a very good career at IBM, and it was in the technical area. Half of it I retired after 38 years, and half of it was in the technical area. And George, I think he was one of the nicest persons, brilliant scientist, and at that time, it was even more so, because I was just doing the math the other day when, you know, that he was 85, and I'm 73, and I kind of like, there was only 12 years difference between our ages, and when I met him, I was just, you know, like I don't know, 18 or something like that, and he was already an established scientist and all of that, and for him to be Mexican, it was just totally unheard of, and be respected, and it was just a great role model, and I'll always be thankful to him.
How old were you when you came from Mexico?
I was 12.
And what kind of schooling did you have in Mexico?
Oh, well, I was just beginning my high school over there. And, you know, my parents got divorced. And my mother was, you know, a society lady. And in the 60s, it was just terrible to get a divorce. So she had a brother over here, and we moved over here. And it was hard. It was hard for the, you know, 2-3 years. And it just started to get easier. I remember I used to get $3.25 at City College when I was tutoring. And then I got hired at IBM for $3.65 an hour. And I thought I had died and gone to heaven. What do you mean $3.65 an hour? And, you know, it just kept going. And, you know, I retired as a director at IBM. You know, I think it's all... The genesis is George Castro.
Which schools did you go to?
I went to San Jose State. I got my bachelor's in chemistry from San Jose State, and I got my MBA at Golden Gate. And then I started on my PhD work at Santa Clara, but I didn't finish it. I got married, and I took a year off, and, you know, never went back.
You said you went to James Lake High School. Did you go to elementary and junior high school here?
No, my sister did. My sister is 5 years younger. She's a physician, and you know, she went to Stanford and graduated both from medical school at Stanford.
What years did you go to James Lake?
65 to 67. I graduated in 1967 with Plunkett had graduated the year before, so we never lost a football game and until he retired. And so, but I was 16 when I graduated.
What, when you were at James Lick, were you seen as an advanced student or?
No. Because remember, the first few months I didn't even speak any English, so I had to learn, and then I took just regular classes. Now my sister, when by the time she was in 6th grade, she was, declared a genius. So they took her to all the special classes, and by the time she was a sophomore at James Lick, they didn't have anything else to teach her, so they sent her to Santa Clara to take classes and stuff. But no, I was just very average. I'm a very average person.
And
my sister got all the brains.
And going to high school, tell me about your friends and the kind of groups you were involved with. What did you do in high school?
In high school, I just went to high school, and then I started babysitting because we needed the money. So I babysat, and I worked at the high school in the cafeteria, and then also I did time cards for the students that worked there. So it was just school and work and school and work and school and work. And actually, I was never part of the in crowd. I was never out of the crowd. I mean, I don't remember anybody being mean to me, but I was never included in anything. So it was okay. Didn't have the time.
Good. I just want you to know that I have lots of material about James Lick.
Did you?
And the yearbooks and all that kind of stuff from that era, because Luis Valdez went there. He was there in 57, 58, 59. The playwright, Luis Valdez?
Yes.
At Lick. So I have the yearbooks during all that time.
Well, I have my
And the
yearbooks if you
Plunkett.
ever need them.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And the Plunkett yearbooks.
Yeah.
And we've done a lot of collecting. Our historical society, we've collected a lot of yearbooks from high school, and so as we go, we're going to be asking people, so we have collections, because in those years, people don't understand that we were there. They didn't see us necessarily, but we were there.
I think you're right. I mean, many years later, I had one of my employees, his wife was in the reunion committee for James Lick for the year, and I said, I have never been invited to a reunion, and I still was not invited, even though the guy worked for me and his wife. I never got an invitation, and like I said, I was never included, but I don't remember people being mean to me. I was just not there as far as other people.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Kept more in touch with George, and I hate that feeling when it's too late to do it.
We all feel that way, And like you said, we knew him, but we were living life. And George always kept coming and going, but just know that you were doing things for people too. That's my tema. Because all of us did. True. You were. Don't be guilty, because you were busy helping people.
Well, it's not
yourself.
It's not so much the guilt, but the fact that I missed not talking.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
But anyway.
Gracias.